morning, good morning. I'll be with everybody. Give me another minute or so and I should be ready. Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Morning, trolls. What's a troll? I don't know what a troll is. They can smash it as many times as they want. They're right. Their privilege. Their freedom. Says something though. So, let me get it out of the way. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, trolls. And good morning, good people. And they're not one and the same. Trolls and good people are not one and the same. Nice day out. I don't know what the temperature is. No idea. Forgot to look. I've already had 2 espressos. I'm still not awake. But it's right now. The clouds are over. The clouds are overhead, blocking the sun, so it's a little bit cooler. But a few minutes ago, it was. It felt like it was starting to get hot. So I'm sure it's going to get hotter. But I think it's going to rain later on. But still, you know. Every day here's a good day, because I don't have to listen to I don't have to listen to things going on like in California. I don't have to listen to all that shit. You know, oh, the homeless, it's all because of Texas. No, it's not all because of Texas. I hate to say that, but, you know, it's not. So anyway, it's a good day today. I'm going to go to the studio with Alex later on today. I haven't really been able to use my new camera to film him, aside from in this tiny little room. This over here. And makes it a little bit difficult. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to going and doing that. And then later on, I got to work with my buddy to try to plan our trip to Bangladesh. And, you know, it's only 5 days. 5 days there, so, you know, got to plan it out pretty meticulously. And hotels there, you know, it doesn't seem like they're, yeah, I guess they're the same price as Thailand, you know, $50, $75 a night, you can get a pretty nice hotel. If you go down to about 35, 25, you're pushing it from what I've seen. So hotels might end up costing a little bit, but that's all right, you know. What was this? $5 days, Gennaro, 5 days. And I have a podcast going up on my in my forum of the time that I spent with Jono the other day. And then I also have a video of him on his, I guess it was, yeah, it was the day after he arrived, the day before we did the live stream. And then what else do I have? Oh, I have the new Bon Chon video, and I think I'll be able to finish up the Vietnam video in Quy Nhon finally. So I'm pretty stoked, you know. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. Like I said, Jono's here. Lori's coming. Billy's coming. Chris is already here. We got a number of people coming over in the next couple of weeks. Soy Dog Cowboy will be here in November. There he is. Speak of the devil. We're all here. We are all devils. At least that's what some people, some Thais believe. We're the foreign devil. And you know, I always have some kind of a loose outline for what I'm going to talk about or what we're going to discuss. Well, I try to. Not always. But yesterday I came over here. I had to do a couple of things. Thank you very much, Soy Dog Cowboy. Wow, you are #1, and you know what that means. As someone who knows a fair bit about Thailand, you know, as the first person, the first merch, well, no, not vendor, I guess buyer, the first buyer of the day receives good luck, supposedly. Now, I don't believe all this stuff, but, you know, it's good to believe the good things and forget about all the things. Like, I don't believe in ghosts or any of that kind of stuff. I've got, you know, Lori and I were given some very nice amulets, supposedly very, very lucky, and actually more valuable than we originally thought. I mean, they were like 500 to 1,000 baht for one amulet, which, the guy's giving it to us. That was pretty nice of him, but a little too much information there, Billy. Lucky condom. Does it mean that you last more than 2 seconds, or does it mean the girl is beautiful because you're using it? Which one of the two is it? So I don't believe all that superstition, but he uses it every time. He reuses it. A reusable condom. Now that's nice. All right. She's small, but her voice carries a big boom. So anyway, I always try to have some kind of a loose outline. Yesterday I came here, had to run some errands. And I walk in and see this Australian guy. He's got to be about 6'9", big old guy. I don't even remember his name, to be honest, which I feel bad about, because I've talked to him at length probably 10 times, and I still don't remember his name. And then another guy who comes to Starbucks all the time. I like to say he's an old guy, but once you're around my age, everybody that's 55, 60, they're old. We're all old. So anyway, he's an older guy. I always see him here. He's been coming here for a while. So they just happened to be sitting, and I saw the Aussie who I've spoke with quite a few times, and I walked over, said hello, and he's like, "Oh, take a seat. Listen, I got something to talk to you about." So we started talking about the TM30, and then we started talking about the direction that Thailand has taken. Actually, the Thai government. 65 is not middle-aged. I hate to tell you. How the hell is it middle-aged when somebody usually croaks between 72 and 78? It's not middle-aged. Middle-age is about 50, 45, something like that. So anyway, I sit down with him, have a long conversation. And in the past I've said, well, the Thai government's they've got to cover their bases. They got to make sure that indeed it's bad guys out, good guys in, bad guys out. And I still believe that they need to do what they're doing for the most part. Otherwise, you get people coming into your country who get benefits, and well, that's very nice. I'm glad you've given me 4 thumbs up. Although I don't know how you are able to do so without having 4 accounts, which begs the question: why does somebody have 4 YouTube accounts? That I don't know, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank you. And so, for the most part, I do understand they're trying to protect their country. They don't want the same thing happening to them that's happening in the U.S., where people come in, they get benefits, and they get to, drive cars, they get a driver's license, and, it's just, for me, it's ridiculous. But what's the, you can't, what are they, undocumented aliens? No, they're illegal aliens. That's as simple as that. They're illegal. They're there illegally. You can say they're undocumented. A documented alien is a legal, I would think, is a legal alien. So, this is the thing, is that I understand that they don't want these things happening. However, with the TM30, the 90-day report, the address reporting when you come in and you have the, what is it, TM47, TM6, or what the hell is it called? I don't have my passport with me. You know, whatever the one is in the, I can't keep track of them sometimes off the top of my head, but you know, with all the, when you come in, you got to fill out, you're supposed to fill out, I never do, you're supposed to fill out the address, your income, and all these things on the back of that, the arrival card. And you know what? You're banned for being a passive-aggressive troll. See you later. This is what we get here. We get passive-aggressiveness, which I hate that. You're either aggressive or you're not. You either want to say what you want to say, but don't hide behind it. Oh, there's no reason for people to... Get the fuck out of here, idiot. There's no reason for people to come here, Westerners to come to Thailand. Really? Why? Just to give an example of why people are leaving, besides all the lunacy going on with the political situation and the political correctness and the illegal aliens and the people crying and AOC bawling her eyes out and the other one, the Shablob or whatever her name is, crying because she can't see her grandmother, and then when they say she can go, oh no, I'm not going. You know, all this BS. It's just bullshit. When there's a 63-year-old school teacher from Massachusetts who decides to move to Panama because, first of all, for $2,000 a month, she can live very well there. And she doesn't have to stay in the U.S. And in her exact words, it's insane to stay in the U.S. Now, I don't know if I'd push it that far, because some people have good lives there. You know, but there's a lot of things going on there that give reason for people to go, I've had it here. And, you know, what's so funny is you get all these people, Amy Schumer, and I can't think of the other people, but I remember her saying it, that there were several people, oh, if Trump wins, I'm gonna move to Mexico, I'm gonna move to Canada, and none of them did. And yet here you have the people who don't want to talk about it. They're not out tooting their own horn about, well, if Trump wins, even though I voted for him, I'm leaving the country. Or if he wins, I don't like him, I'm leaving the country, and they actually do. You don't hear about that shit. So there's good reason to come here. Now, there are many alternatives. Ugh. Now, I don't like her, man. I've never been attracted to her. I've never thought she was anything. She just irritated me. She's kind of like Kathy Griffin. Disgusting. I saw her on Seinfeld. I was watching Seinfeld the other day. She was on Seinfeld, and she was just as irritating as a character as she seems to be in real life. She's not one of my favorite ones. Now, Whitney Cummings, at least she's a little easier on the eyes than Kathy Griffin. So anyway, I have my chat with these guys, and we start talking about the whole TM30. None of them really understand it, and they're like, you know, listen, it's basically just when you go out of the country and then come back. It's not so much for when you're moving around inside the country, because some of them have gone to places. Yeah, well, that right there, I mean, you know, like, come on, if you're a guy and she's laying there and you know that she's related to Chuck Schumer, don't you think that might, I don't know, you know, like you might go, ooh, Amy Schumer, Chuck, I don't think that works. It's a bit of a turnoff. Well, let me tell you, I got a lot of respect for Jono, because he lived in the midst of it over there in San Francisco, right in the heart of all the bullshit. And the shit, literally the shit, where people are shitting all over the streets. And yet he he somehow navigated through the bullshit without getting himself into any trouble. You know. So, for all the people who are coming over here, there are some very good reasons. However, you know, it's just like, you know, you got a girlfriend and you decide to change girlfriends. You know, you go, oh, well, this one's, they're about the same good look and I like them both, but for some reason I want this one. She's a few years younger. You know, you got one set of problems with the one girl, you're going to have some other you're going to have other problems with the other girl. Well, it's the same thing. You trade one set of problems in the United States or wherever it is, you trade one set of problems for where you are to coming over here. And some of the problems are the noise, the noise pollution, the traffic, you know, the visa situation, how they're trying to tighten the screws to people, make it more difficult for people. The feeling like Big Brother is constantly watching over you. That's something that, you know, it takes a little getting used to. And I don't, you know, like, listen, I feel like if you do something wrong and you do something over the top, you're going to get called out for it. And I don't know if that's such a bad thing, but, you know, nobody likes to think that, you know, I'm sitting at Starbucks and I've got the Thai government listening to every word I say. Now, they may have that capability and they may be doing it, who knows? But the point is that you trade one set of problems for another set. And those problems, for many people, have to do with the visa situation. You know, I've been reading about how people with education visas, they're going to be allowed to get an education visa for a year, and then after that, they're not going to be able to get any more of them for, I don't know how long, but they're only going to give 1 year is the maximum you're going to be able to get an education visa. So that's one thing. You know, there's the transferring money, there's, you know, showing this much money for this much time, and, you know, every government wants you to keep your, if you're a U.S. citizen, they want you to keep the money in the U.S., you know. Well, the way to escape it, at least somewhat, is to, you know, go offline. You know, at some point in my life I will. I just can't do it yet. And there are other ways around it as well. There are ways to get around the being online individually. You know, there's other things you can do. You can have somebody take care of an account. It's not you. It's under a different name or whatever. I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. So, but ultimately, it comes right back to you. The U.S. wants to keep the money here. Australia wants to keep the money in Australia. The UK, I think he said, what was it? In the UK, they want you to, I think it's, 2 years? You have to be in the country 2 years before you draw on your pension to continue drawing your pension abroad. Which, you know, I don't know that that's such a bad thing, but when the government starts saying, oh, well, we're not going to give you your pension, like, for instance, if they told me, oh, well, you live in Thailand, so you can't collect your Social Security, I'd be like, well, then what about all the money that I paid into the system? You know. What the U.S. pays Thailand to do. Well, I think if they don't do it outright, then it's about influence, which is, you know, listen, the U.S. pushes their weight around all over the world. You know, there's no fidelity. You know what, Fidelity? I was looking. I do have batteries for that audio thing, and so I was gonna use it this morning, and then I was looking for the dongle. I love saying that word, dongle. And yeah, bullshit. Sorry, BKK. They accept charity, believe me. They may not say it publicly, but they do accept charity from the U.S. And I was looking around for the dongle, and I couldn't find it. So I've got a couple places left to look. So when I go home, I'm going to have to look, because I do want to be able to use a mic with my phone. Fidelity was saying that it's a bit difficult. It was a bit difficult the other day to hear Jono speaking, and so that's why I'm going to start recording all the live streams, the audio, and with a Zoom recorder, and also I'm going to try to get a setup to where a portable setup to where I can go and talk to people and interview people or whatever we're doing. For example, Jono or Chris or Billy or Lori or whoever. I want to be able to go, and I have there's a way you can do it. It's a portable little box. You plug in a couple of mics, you put them in front of the people, and then you either hook it up to a computer or you hook it up. I want to see about hooking it up to the phone, but I don't know if that's possible. So, overseas long enough. Yeah, that's what I was told also, which is like, that's fucking ridiculous. It's like, okay, you can have your pension, but you know what? If you leave the country for a long vacation, you want to go to Italy for 3 months and learn Italian and learn how to cook, or Thailand or wherever it is. Sorry, we're cutting your pension. It's freaking ridiculous. I think, sometimes the government, and I think this is a big issue, is that the governments forget that they work for you. You don't work for them. The governments are supposed to listen to us. The taxpayers foot the bill. So, we talked about that and the whole TM30 and what a it's just a shit show, and that's putting it nicely. And it's a shit show because I don't know that it's really necessary to do this. And then we were talking about how in the nightlife, they're considering allowing people, bar owners, to keep their bars open until 4 a.m. And some Thai official said something like, well, first of all, the noise is something we have to consider, because at 4 o'clock in the morning, people don't want to hear all that noise. And I'm like, wait a minute, do they really want to hear it at 2 o'clock in the morning? And then they said something like, well, people who are out at 4 o'clock in the morning tend to cause more problems and be more and to be bigger alcoholics than those who only stay out until 2 o'clock, which is, I don't understand where they get the logic from. So because if I stay out instead of staying out till 2 o'clock at a club, I decide to stay out until 4 o'clock, that makes me more of a liability and more dangerous to society. What about all the Thais who stay out until 4 o'clock in the morning at the after hours clubs? At the karaoke's that are open that long. And there are many. So basically what they're saying is, it's just another way to control what's going on. And I think that's what it is the Thai government, Chinese government, Singaporean government, lots of Asian governments, but governments around the world. They want to control their masses. But, maybe it's difficult to do because it's a fine line between controlling and keeping things safe. But I think that sometimes it's about just having the control so that they know we have the power, we're always going to have the power, we're always going to remain. It's kind of like in Africa where you got these dictators, and they stay in power for 30 or 40 years. You know. And then their son takes over. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't know, but I would say most. There are a lot here who they may be here on temporary visas, but a lot of them no. Well, people may be more inebriated at 4 a.m., but I can tell you that me and my buddies, we used to go out into the clubs, and they were open until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and we didn't drink. We weren't drinking booze. So, you know. Sorry, I don't buy it, okay? If people are going to stay out until 2 o'clock in the morning, an extra hour and a half, 2 hours, is not going to make that much of a difference. Because there are a lot of people who don't want to stay, they don't want to stay out all night. I don't know. You know, like, I look at it this way. I used to stay out till 5 or 6 o'clock when they allowed that here in Bangkok and in Phuket. I'd stay out till 6 o'clock in the morning. I didn't do anything wrong. So a lot of people don't do anything wrong at all. They're just hanging out. They don't feel like going home because they're going to sleep all day or whatever, you know. Oh, God. Another one of these fucking passive, aggressive, bullshit, full of shit trolls. We get a lot of those here. You know, I mean, really, it's like, but here's the thing. What about, it's like, no, but here's the thing, David. You have Thai people doing the same thing. So if they're going to do it for the bars for foreigners, then do it for the bars for Thais. Then crack down and stop saying, oh, we're going to take care of all this. And then what they do is they accept tea money. Either do it or don't do it, but don't talk about it. And that's another thing that goes on here. You know, they pay lip service, and then as soon as a couple of months goes by, you know, things change right back. Yeah, it is. It's called not having balls, is what it is. Eunuch. Another word for trolls is eunuch. Anyway. You know, I've said it before, but like, yeah, troll's gonna troll, hater's gonna hate. And I think it's pretty much, I think there's only a handful of them that, and I think they constantly are changing their accounts. One in particular, because the guy who was Pattaya 1, what is this? Oh, she's in a little Japanese thing. A Japanese festival ends today, which I have a video on that too. I have to see if I can put something together with it. You know, there was a long time ago when I first came here, the expats used to tell me, you know, I'm talking about experienced long-term expats used to say, they want your money, but they don't want you. And I'd be like, you know, that's a little harsh. The key word is they. Who is they? And the other one was, they'd be happy if you just flew over the country with bags of money, dropped the money, and just flew away, and you never stepped foot in their country. Now that's extreme, but it shows that. Yeah, you got something there. But from what these guys were saying yesterday, one guy's been here 15 years, the other guy's been here 5 years. And then there was another one that I spoke with that's been here off and on for 25 years. And if anything, the impression that most foreigners have now is that the Thai government is making it more difficult because they don't want you here. They don't want us here. Now, you know, they may very well say, you know, we don't want the backpackers here anymore because they cause too many problems. There's too many medical issues that they can't take care of or whatever. They may have reasons. I don't know. But it seems like they're trying to push those people out for sure, and those kind of tourists. Oh shit. Hang on. Man, the way that they were screaming and yelling over there, I thought that somebody had drove their motorcycle into the vendors, but all it was is somebody knocked over a big tray of whatever they're selling over there, and of course they ended up laughing about it, which is good. You know, I got stopped yesterday. This is another thing. I got stopped yesterday by some kids. And this one guy stopped me. He was a big guy, big Thai guy. And he walks up to me and he's like, excuse me, sir. And at first, you know, my first thought was, what does this guy want? I was like, what the fuck does this guy want? And, hey, Carl, how's it going? I was like, what does this guy want, you know? And he's like, do you have time, some pod? And I'm like, oh, you want to interview? And he's like, yeah. And so then he walks me like, you know, 20 feet to the right, and there's a young girl there, and there's another guy. And they're like, oh, yeah, can we interview you? And I was like, yeah, okay. And so, you know, a lot of it, what happens is the students are required to do an interview with a foreigner and ask them a number of questions. And they asked me, what do you like about Thailand? What do you dislike about Thailand? How long have you been here? You know, the usual questions. So that's always interesting. You know, because they're so they want to do it and do it so right, and they want to know about, you know, why do you like their country so much? What kind of food do you like? I'm like, man, I like all Thai food. I like almost every single Thai dish that you know. And the guy goes, and I was thinking, and they said, the guy goes, you like tom yum? And I went, no, som tam. I'm like, no, not really. And then I was like, you know, I like pad thai, I like pad ki mao, I like pad siu, and you know, so it ended up nice. But you know, I think that most Thais don't really know, and you know, rightly so, they don't really know about what most foreigners go to live here long term. I think a lot of them don't know. I think, you know, the wives have an idea. They know. The girlfriends may know. But other than that, I think the average, like, you know, these kids, they have no idea. They have no idea what it takes for a person to stay here. They just think, you know, you go every year or whatever, and, you know. Well, you know, let me ask you this. Do the elite in the United States care about the poor? They do when it gets them votes. You know. So this is not, you know, take the word Thai out of the equation and then see if it applies elsewhere. Here, I used to be. I don't know why. Now I don't really, I don't get asked that, you know. I mean, but I've been here for a long time, so, you know. Interesting. 9 months here, now you're back wondering if you want to if you want to stay back. You know, the world is changing. I can tell you that just a couple years ago, I used to bitch and moan about my bank locking my bank card, locking the account and saying you need to call in to be able to use this card. And it used to piss me off because I'd be out somewhere and I didn't have much cash, and I'd be like, oh, I need the money to go and get this or pay for this. And then they would lock it, and I'd be like, son of a bitch, and then they weren't open all night. So I'd have to wait until the next day, which made it difficult. That kind of stuff doesn't really happen anymore. I think that places are starting to understand that people don't always live at home. And you know, when I came over here, this was a long time ago. So I came over here just like, hey, I'm gonna come for a year. It's an adventure. When I come back home, I'll start over again, and you know, take it from there. And then I was like, just stay an extra month or two. I really like it. I can stay. And I was like, I'll stay a little bit longer. And then, you know, and after a few years, then it's like, all right, well, I got a girlfriend. Oh, now I got a wife. Oh, she's pregnant. Oh, you know, so, you know, that's why I think, you know, I hear all these guys who are really young and they're talking about coming over here and living here. And if you don't have a degree or you don't have a setup for a good job when you come here and you're, say, 25 years old, don't do it. A lot happens in 30 years, 35 years. And, you know, now is not the same as when I came over. It's much easier when I came over. You didn't have to jump through as many hoops, you know. So yeah, I mean, if I was, that's so ridiculous, really. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. That's complete horse shit. I know guys here who are making $2,000-$3,000 a month, and they live quite well. You know, if you got $5,000-$6,000, you live better. But I mean, really, 200,000 baht a month, you can support a whole family very easily, and you know, have a pretty good life. 150,000, you can do the same. If you're a single guy, forget about it. You can live off of whatever you want. If you know, it depends on what you really want, and there's a difference between existing and living. And you know, some people are okay with just reading books inside their pad every day. First of all, Gary, what I'm saying, I didn't say anything about the percentage. But there are people here who live off of more than, say, $1,000 or $2,000. If you're living off of $2,000, $3,000 a month, and you're a single guy, that's more than enough. But it's more than enough now. So you got to plan for the future. And there are indeed, I know a lot of people making $100,000 or more. You know. You know, I never am good at predicting that. I don't think it will anytime soon. But you never know. You know. I hope not. It used to be 25. And it was stuck there for a long time. But we'll see. Gripping the bottle, trying to hold on to the drink. Well, I'm not gripping any bottle. I mean, and I was here 25 years ago. I know what it was like. And I know that in many ways, especially if you were a single guy and you like to party, Thailand was a better place back then. It wasn't as strict. Yeah, but you can live better off of $5,000 here than you will there. You know. Depends on where you live, also in the U.S. If you're living in New York City or San Francisco, $5,000 a month ain't shit. Listen, bottom line is money talks and bullshit walks. You know. If you have some money, and you're not, you know, saying, oh, I've only got $400 a month, what am I going to do? Well, you know, you're probably going to live better than somebody. Love that Texas chicken over the show. You know, I've only been there one time, and I had a burrito. Yeah, well, but the thing is that what they'll do is they'll grandfather people of certain ages who were born before a certain year. So, you know, when ages, when the lifespan increases, then of course they're gonna increase that, because it's their pension program is not going to last as long. You know, if people start living until 85 instead of 72, well, how's that going to work? Yeah, listen, Thailand, well, you know, the best way to put it, and I've said this many times, Thailand is not cheap, but it is cheaper in many categories. You need to be very careful about what you say and how you say it, because, you know, some of the one word off and you're completely off in what you're saying. Because there are some categories here where the products are more expensive. Paper products tend to be more expensive. Electronics tend to be as expensive or more expensive, but food, labor, apartments tend to be cheaper. You know, I don't know how much a double espresso cost in, say, Kansas City, Missouri. But I dare say the prices are similar. And for the price to be similar here, where the cost of living is supposed to be lower, you pay $95 a month Wi-Fi, 125. Well, I don't have DirecTV or any of that kind of stuff. I can tell you that many years ago, my cable was 2,400 baht a month. And I thought it was bullshit because you don't get enough. And then my Wi-Fi is 1,237 baht, 1,287 baht or 82 baht, which is what, 40 bucks, about $42. But then, like on my phone, if I want Wi-Fi on my phone, it costs a little extra. If I want 4G on my phone, 4G on my phone for somebody like me is about $60 a month. That's not including the phone. That's not including phone calls. You know, so it's all relative, man. Oh, jeez, it's bullshit, dude. Really, it's bullshit. Oh, every other week, everything in 7-Eleven goes up 25 cents. It's bullshit. Complete bullshit. I buy milk there all the time because I don't want to carry it from the mall, and I have one bag of groceries. I go over there and buy milk. I buy bread. They're the same fucking price as 2 years ago. And you know, Starbucks prices haven't gone up. Well, that's it. That's what it is. Cheaper to eat out there than buying groceries and cooking, but my love. Well, you know what? That's something else, David. If you figure out how much it costs to eat at home, and believe me, I've done the cost analysis. You go out and buy a bunch of meat, and you make some stew, and you've got 3 men in the house who, my kids eat more than I do now, and they're sprouting up like weeds. They're bigger than I am. I mean, taller. Yeah, exactly. I think he's, exaggerating a bit, but and then you figure out, how many bowls of stew you get, or how many meals you get for each per a certain amount of money. It always works out. I mean, if I buy, put it this way, I can buy some spaghetti, the noodles. I'll buy the noodles for, say, 69 baht, and if I was to buy the sauce, okay, that's about 188 baht. So what's that? That's 250. Say it's 255 baht. Yeah, well, you're in Sukhumvit, man. That's a tourist area. What do you expect? They're going to raise the prices as much as they can. Well, live where the Thais live. Live like a person who's a resident here instead of a tourist, which brings me to another subject. But anyway, so if you buy some Parmesan cheese, which will last you, it'll last you more than one meal. But let's say you buy some Parmesan cheese, some good Parmesan cheese, it's 200 baht. So you're talking about 460 baht, and you have the leftover Parmesan. So let's say that you use 50 baht of Parmesan. It's 310 baht for the meal. That's about 100 baht for a big plate of spaghetti. And if you really want, you can go in the food court and get a plate of spaghetti. It's not the same, but you can get it for cheaper. There are people here, that they'll go out and they'll eat a 40 baht meal and they're full. Or they'll get a special, an extra large, and they'll pay a little more. And they're paying $1.50. Well, let me tell you something. Yeah, we also make our own tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce sometimes, and we make chili, and we make beef stew, and we make all these kind of things. And generally it works out to where it's still more expensive than if you go out and you buy something like from across the street. You buy some soup, you buy some noodles, you buy some banh mi, banh mi mudang or something like that, which is like a red pork with the noodles. You go out and you buy that, it's 45 baht, it's $1.50. So yeah, a lot of the time you can eat out for cheaper, but you're not getting what you want all the time. My kids don't want to go out for breakfast and have to worry about getting breakfast before school every day. So they eat oatmeal, they have some fruit, they have some cereal, and that shit adds up. We paid, the other day, we paid 589 baht for 2 pizzas, and I think it was the pizza company. Yeah, well, you can pick onions from the side of the road off of somebody's farm, and that'll save you money too. I mean, really. Dude. We paid $5.89 for 2 pizzas, and that came with $5.89. It came with some chicken wings, and it came with a big thing of Pepsi for $5.89. So that breaks down to say 300 baht a pizza, which is $10. So the prices are rising, but they're not rising nearly as much as, I go into 7-Eleven and every time I go in it, things are more expensive. That's just complete bullshit. Yeah, and Cambodia's pizzas most of the time are shit. What I said was $10 a pizza. Jesus Christ. You can argue with me all the, what are your, tell me, how long have you lived here? Listen, I can cook eggs in a microwave. It doesn't mean I do it, you know. Now, I'll cook a baked potato in a microwave because it takes a lot less time, but considering how long it takes to cook a pot of spaghetti, yeah, I don't own a car, and I have been thinking about a motorcycle, but, you know, it's an additional expense. Get the fuck out of here. Seriously, get the fuck out of here. No market for it. You're a fucking idiot. You're the same fucking jackass that's been on here before. Patia One or whatever the fuck your name is. Get out of here, you dumb fuck. Well, they don't like pizzas. There's like 6 pizza joints inside the mall. But they hate pizza and they're always fucking full. Get the fuck out of here, idiot. Yeah, you've been here like 10 times. Ugh. Fucking moron. Why do I attract so many morons here, you know? I don't know what it says about me. Then again, Howard Stern attracts morons too, so. Yeah, he's mad at all the people that are here, which is just tough shit. If you want to live here, listen, you know, just do it. Just move. Do it. Find a way. That's what I did. I found a way. And I've been here a long fucking time, man. November's 25 years, baby. And this is the other thing, too, is that, you know, if you are happy where you are, and I'm not saying, I never have professed that Thailand is the answer for everybody, because I don't think it is. I think there are some things that take getting used to. I think you need to learn how to be extremely patient here. You know, I think you need to learn how to just say, don't worry about it. I think you need to learn the whole Mipe and Rai attitude, the Giant Yen. I think you need to integrate into the country. Now, I know several people, one of which is the guy who I'm going to Bangladesh with. Now, he comes over here for anywhere from 3 months to 6 months, and then he goes and travels around, and then he might come back for a month, and then he'll go back to the U.S., and then he'll, you know, so he knows a fair bit about here. The guy, he's completely happy. He's relaxed. He's, you know, hey, man, it's no problem. I know several others that live here that are like that. And it's generally because they have enough money to where the little annoyances, and it can be annoying. Listen, when I go to a bank and they have an account already, I'm already on file, and they tell me you got to go fill out all these paperwork, it can be annoying. It's time consuming. It costs you money. It's a pain in the ass. It takes up your time. You know, like, if I had the road all to myself, I could get somewhere in 15 minutes. But because of traffic, it might take me an hour and 15 minutes. That's an annoyance. But you learn to live with it. You learn to just go, I'm going to chill out. I'm going to listen to some music. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to do whatever. I used to go back and forth 2 hours in a taxi to work. 2 hours each way. Sometimes more, sometimes a little bit less. And what are you going to do? Maybe it's because I'm getting older and my vision of the way things should be has changed. You know, there's the way that you want it to be and the way that things are, and they're going to continue to be. There's the reality. Hey, you can't have everything the way you want it. So you just either accept it or get the fuck out. You know. And that's the bottom line. As much as expats bitch and moan here, and you have a lot to bitch and moan about. If you're an expat, you know, just like back in the United States, if you're a U.S. citizen, you got a lot to bitch and moan about. You have a lot to be grateful for, thankful for, just like here. But if you truly want to make a move from the United States, like if you're in the United States going, fuck him, why can he live there and I can't? Oh, this fucking asshole, oh. Well, then sell your fucking house, sell your car, sell all your fucking clothes, your bullshit that you don't want, hop on a plane, figure it out, and move. Otherwise, stop your bitching. And you're crying and you're complaining. You know what I'm saying? It's that simple. It's not rocket science, like I always said. You think, I want to live over there. Okay, well, how can I do that? And then you find a solution. Okay, so, you know, you got a plan. You got a plan, make a plan, and, you know, do it. You can do it, man. I believe that. If I can do it, anybody can. Seriously. Well, see, that's what a lot of people think. Okay, but Gennaro, start counting the days. You're like, okay, 365 times 3 is 1,095. When you get under 100, 1,000, you go, yeah, 999, baby. And then you're like, 949. And then you're like 800. And, you know, look at it that way. Do the countdown. Don't think about how long you got ahead. Because if it's 3 years, you know, at least you got time to plan it out and have some backup plans, you know. You know, it's like, okay, well, like Jono was like, oh, I don't know about Thailand. I might have to go live in Vietnam. And then go live in Vietnam. Go live in Panama. Go live in Ecuador. Go live in, you know, Dominican Republic. Go live wherever you want. If you got the money, you can. Yeah. I know. Philippines is so much greater than Thailand. Really. Listen, the visa problem is not a problem for people who have the money. That's the thing. Most of the people bitching and moaning about it are people who don't have the funds. And the Philippines, I still say, while the Philippines is a nice place and there are some beautiful places there, and the people can be very nice, for me, Thailand, I am better suited to Thailand. I don't want everybody in my business, like all the neighbors always want to know every little thing, and you know, I just don't want to deal with that bullshit. I like what I got here. It's peace and quiet most of the time. The only peace and quiet I don't have is maybe when I'm online and I got some trolls. What's a big deal about that? I mean, it's $20-something thousand. If you're 65 years old, a lot of people have that. So what's the problem? Why does that make the Philippines so much better? Because you don't have to show a bit of money. You know, listen, I'm not going to really talk about that because no matter what I say, I can't win. I get messages from people, and the vast majority of them are either old fucking crusty motherfuckers who couldn't live here if their lives depended on it, or they're Filipinos who take offense that I say I prefer to live here. I think the food is much better. I think the people are more laid back. For me, and I think that the infrastructure is better here. And while I do think it's more difficult to stay here, I wonder why. You know, most countries that would be considered third world or second world or whatever you want to call it, they make it easier for people to live there. Well, good for them. Go ahead. They'll also go to Vietnam. That's all right. Go ahead. That's the beauty of it all. You can go wherever you want. I personally wouldn't go to the Philippines. And I definitely wouldn't go there with my family. You know, maybe if I was a single guy like 18 years old, I might, but I think that would have been a mistake for me. I mean, you could go all kinds of places. Oh, that's horse shit. Seriously, horse shit. Some of them are, just like some of them are here, just like some of them are in the Philippines. Are you the same guy? Really? The same guy who I booted a couple of times today? Because you sound like him with that kind of nonsense. And if you say any more bullshit like that, I'm just going to fucking boot you out. Seriously. Oh, Vietnamese are hardened. Oh my God. Really? So there's no hardened Thais? They're just as hard as the Vietnamese? Vietnamese are smart. How can I say this? Vietnamese, in my opinion, are more clever than Thais. They are shrewder than Thais. Okay? Bangkok Thais are hard. Get the fuck out of here. You're an idiot. The same fucking idiot. My name's Pinhead. Can you boot me again? I mean, seriously, you're gonna tell me the old lady who goes to, you're gonna tell me that, like, the old lady who decides to go to Panama and live off of $2,000 a month. She's going there living off of $2,000 a month. She's a school teacher. She's going by herself. And she's going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe these Panamanian men are they're so hardened. Oh my goodness. She don't give a shit. The average guy who's a smart guy, he don't give a shit about the women because the women will come. He knows that. And you know what? The average guy who's not a fucking chowderhead doesn't have a problem either playing along with the game or saying, hey honey, you know, we had our fun last night. It's time for you to go. Oh no, but you know, Mama, Papa, Buffalo died yesterday, and Papa, he have heart problem, and you know, Mama, she stay in hospital. Listen, I don't give a shit about all that. Get out of here. That's a sad story. I'm sorry, but you know, you gotta go. Bye. That's how you deal with it. Listen, if I walk down the street on Sukhumvit Road, I'll probably run into 20 people laying there begging for money. People who are laying there, you know, just, and there's the guy over here. He sits up here every freaking day. Just same guy. And I'm like, if you can sit here, why can't you sit at a desk? I mean, there has to be something else you can do. So, like, I can't give to him and then go to the next guy and give to him and then go to the next guy and give to him and go to the next guy and give to him. I can't do that shit. I don't want to hear it. I got my own fucking issues. Yeah, exactly. Listen, I don't want to be construed as somebody who's cold because I'm not. But, you know, like, I have my limits. You know, 1, maybe 2 times in a day, if I'm in a poor country, you know, I'll you know, cough up some cash. And it's what I think I can afford because I know I got, you know, a kid in college, another one going in college. They both have braces. They both one has to have oral surgery. I mean, I got all these things. So I got my own shit going on. What am I going to worry about all these people? Listen, I'm sorry. I'm very fortunate. I agree. I'm very, very fortunate. Okay? And most of us are. Most of us, by the very fact that we are watching a YouTube live stream, makes us luckier than a lot of people in the world, or unluckier. I don't know. I live in the second largest city in Luzon and have at least 2 or 3. Yeah. 5 megabytes DSL for $65 a month. Yeah, you see, mine is 100 down, 30 up, and it's $40, $42 or something like that a month. So, you know. I appreciate the troll giving us something to debate. But, you know, there are other ways to go about doing that. Trying to get us to debate something. And, you know, I was looking through some old podcasts of mine. And I found one where I was asked the question, is there a deep-seated undercurrent of racism? And the guy I'm going to Bangladesh with, he was on the podcast. And he said, well, I think it's there's more racism in the United States. Well, how do you really gauge that? I think it's very difficult to gauge it. But I would say but just by going somewhere in Thailand as a tourist or as an expat, like going to a national park and you're paying 10 times more, I would say there is some discrimination. It's not underlying for the most part. The government might be. Yes, Okay, I agree with that, because the government's probably not going to come right out and say, we don't want you here because you've got white skin or because you are a foreigner or whatever. They're not going to do that. They're just going to, it's akin to this, okay? In the old days, two boxers go to the fights. They're in the arena, and some guy walks up to one of the fighters and goes, "Hey, kid, tonight you're going down in the fourth." And the guy said, "What? You're going down in the fourth or else." And the guy goes, "Okay." Now they don't do that anymore. It's much more subtle. It's more refined. It's, hey, we're going to work this guy up in the rankings and let him fight a bunch of stiffs. He's going to be number 5 in the world or number 3 in the world. And the champion's going to have to be forced to fight him because the other guys are unavailable. So now he gets his mandatory defense. He gets an easy title shot. You know damn well that the chance of the guy who's been milking his record, and they've been just pumping him up with nobody. He's been fighting tomato cans. His chance of winning is next to nothing. So they set it up that way. It's not going directly and just blatantly saying, you're going to go down in this fight at this time. What's the thing about living in Thailand? Well, I guess you haven't been here before. You tell me. If you haven't lived here before, or visited before, then you probably don't know. I don't know. We might have more racism. That's because we are a melting pot of races compared to yeah, exactly. And maybe it's a representation of the world since we have well, it's the whole tribal thing. People want to stick to their clan. Well, you rarely see it in a blatant fashion. But you do when you go somewhere like, at least here, you do when you go to like national parks, government places where, they flat out say this is the price for foreigners and this is the price for expats, for Thais. But that's been going on for a long time. And I think it will take a long time for that to change, if it ever does. I think eventually it will, but that's my guess. Maybe in 30 years, or maybe in 30 years there will be no foreigners living in Thailand. It will only be Thais, and that's it. If you weren't born here, you can't stay here. And if you think the Vietnamese aren't racist, you should think again. If you think Chinese aren't racist, you should think again. If you think Filipinos aren't racist, you should think again. Or discriminate, however you want to put it. Do you have any sense of how that team... Well, it wouldn't surprise me if, and that's one of the first things that I thought. When it becomes such a pain in the ass for people renting to foreigners to where they don't want to rent to anymore, then what's going to happen? Prices are going to go up. Foreigners are going to have to pay a lot more money. And, or they're not going to be able to stay here. I haven't heard of anybody saying, oh, they don't want me here because I'm a foreigner or because it's too much of a pain in the ass for the TM30. But I think, again, this is something that it's a subtle change. And what I do hear is that there are a lot of people who are irritated by the TM30. That hasn't affected me yet, but I can guarantee you I'll be pissed off if, knowing that my landlord has filed all the paperwork, and then when I leave and then I come back in and they tell me, oh, you've got to pay money, I'm going to be like, no, I don't. My landlord took care of everything. And then if she didn't, I'm going to say, well, she told me she did. So you know, and then, well, I'm not going to skip on my way back for 2,000 baht or 1,600 baht. Well, yeah, they need to. That's the law. That's the whole thing. And is it an irritant? Yes, but you know what? To me, it reminds me of getting a new phone or getting a new camera. You get a new phone and you're like, shit, now I got to transfer everything from the old phone onto here. Is everything transferring? Oh, no, it won't. Do I have to upgrade everything? Where is everything? You got to get up to speed. With a camera, you got to learn the menu. You got to learn, oh, where's that button? Where's the switch? The same thing goes for Thailand and something like the TM30. It's going to take people a while to become adjusted to the change. But people will learn. People will learn, or they'll go home, or, you know, they'll get in some kind of trouble. I look at it like this. If you never get in trouble for 30 years, you are banking some goodwill. Haven't gotten in trouble for 30 years. Now, for some reason, my landlord didn't do this. They may be more apt to turn the other cheek. They may say, you know, next time, make sure you take care of it. I understand they say the occupant can fill out the TM30, but there are some stipulations to that. If you go on and try to register yourself on their website, you will see what those stipulations are. It's much easier to have a Thai person do it. Place is open now? Oh, yeah. It's open. What do I got to do? I got to get a couple things, huh? What do we need? I like to look at some statistics, and I wanted to do it this morning, but I really didn't have any time. I want to look at some statistics on how the number of tourists have changed over the last couple of decades, and also the number of expats from each country. Texas chicken, from what I know, which is a little, I had a burrito and like a little thing, one little thing of chicken. It was good. But the burrito was the main dish for me. But a lot of people like it. I like that bonchon. But my wife went nuts. You know, she bought like 4 boxes of it. And I was like, man, this stuff is good. Then she bought like 3 more boxes. And I was like, damn, this stuff is good. And then yesterday I went. And I was like, I want to do a video on this place. So I did. I got to just edit everything, but I got another box of it. That box is gone now. We all ate that box. And I was like, all right, that's enough of the bonchon chicken. I've had enough of it for a while. Again, you know, like, okay, here's the thing. Let me figure this out. Chicken. One thing of 2 breasts of chicken. So say you need 2 to get issues with police to tourists, some foreigners. Tourism is so, well, you can say it's important to them, but they may have some things going on that makes them think it's not as important as you do. But you know, I've heard this about the aggressiveness and all that. Here's the thing, like, I don't have a problem carrying my passport, because if they want to come up and they want to be difficult, first of all, I have a photo of my passport and the entry stamp and the visa and everything. I have it in my phone, no problem. And I also bring my passport with me a lot of the time. So what's the problem? Cop asks you to see your passport, I understand, hey, whatever, you know, I mean, I think it's a bit over the top to be bugging people. But I don't have that happen here. I've only had it happen, where was I? I was on like Soy 11 or something in Succumbent Road. Well, you see, that's the other thing. And in Myanmar in the past, right when you checked in, they took a copy of your passport and they faxed it to the appropriate department. So, you know, the issue comes for me, the real issue is that the hotels or guest house are doing what they're supposed to do. They are sending in the paperwork. And then when you have somebody who is an expat, they're living somewhere, that the landlord will do it. And then they make it easy. This is the thing. It's such a pain in the ass to do a lot of things here, but they do eventually make it easier. I mean, you know, like even the 90-day report, you can do it online now. I remember when I used to go online to do it, I'd be like, well, is it going to work this time or do I have to mail it in? And I always mailed it in because their website was shit. And now, to my surprise, it worked. And I was like, fantastic. You know, it wouldn't work the last time, and the reason was because I need to go out of the country and then come back in. And once I do that, I'll be able to do it online again. So that's okay. Let me see here. The chicken, $158. Another, what is it, 79. $237. And then you get like a can of corn, which is what? 25. Some rice, which is fuck all. 10 baht, 35. So they say 30 baht for 3. 55, 280, 292. So for instance, if I was to have chicken breasts, there's 4 breasts, okay? Usually my kids will eat 1 or 2 chicken breasts. Maybe they'll split it, or maybe I'll split it with them. We'll have one, and somebody will have, 2 of us will have like 1.5 chicken breasts. The other person, usually Nicholas, will have 1. Put some corn on the side, some rice, and then with like some rub, it's like 300 baht. So it's like 100 baht a plate. You know, which is a little more, or it can be a little cheaper, depending on what you're having. But you know, it's not a terrible price, but it's still, you know, it's $3.33, $3.30 for a meal at home, where you could go out and if you want, you can go get some chicken for say 60 baht or 80 baht. It's cheap. Anyway, what was this? 2,000 baht for a breast. I always carry passport. BTS entrance. The guy inspecting my bag always salute. Well, they salute everybody. they salute almost everybody. And I'm always like, they salute, and I'm like, yeah, all right, dude. You know. And a lot of people have been telling me about how when they go to the BTS that they have to show their passport. And then my one buddy, he went in with his passport the next day and they didn't want to see it. And they were like, no, you don't have to show it. And I always go, well, sign up with Line. You put some money on Line, and then you just go up to the counter and you go, here you go. You know, put the money on my card. They'll take it right off of your Line account. I don't know why they salute. I think it's because you're a customer. They're greeting you. They're the hello boys. It seems like the guys who follow the rules don't have a problem with Thais enforcing the rule. Well, and you know, again, just because I follow the rules, or I try to follow the rules most of the time, doesn't mean that I like all the rules. I don't. You know, I mean, I'll admit it. Of course, I don't like all the rules. I don't like rules, period. You know, I don't like people telling me what to do. I don't like, you know, governments telling me what to do. And I don't like some of the rules. But, you know, some rules are there for a reason, and for good reason. Oh, shit, you know what? Oh, I salute back at him. You know, I don't stand there You know, I don't do that, but I'll be like, yeah, I mean, you see, I got my bag right here. I don't have it with me now because I'm 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from my house, but I just put it right in there. Boom, put it in there, no problem. What's so difficult about that? You know, you get a little leather case or a plastic case that goes around the passport. You know, most of the time, nothing's going to happen. Yeah, Ziploc bag is good. You know, my first passport that I had, and I think I still have it, it smelled like Calvin Klein Obsession because I was over here, and I had it in a bag, and I dropped the bag, and the bottle broke, and it spilled all over the passport. So it always smelled like Calvin Klein Obsession. So, you know, I've been thinking about walking and where am I going to walk and all that kind of stuff. Do I feel like going for a long walk? And I'll be honest, I woke up today and I was like, I'll do a live stream tomorrow. Because my wife was going to be running around all day today, and I was like, just hang out with her. And then I thought, I'll do it today. Get it over with. Get it done. You know, do it. But I may on Tuesday or Wednesday go for a 10-mile walk or something. I don't know. You know, bring the backpack, bring the umbrella. Yeah. Maybe use a different microphone. I know there is some little setup that uses the, I forget what kind of plug they're called, but it's not a standard 3.5 jack or a flat lightning jack or anything like that. It's a jack where, you know, I forget what they're called, but, you know, it's like for real microphones, you use that. But there's a little setup, it's about this big and that wide. And I'd like to be able to have a couple of mics and be able to sit with somebody and talk to them and show video. You know, I don't know how I'll be able to do that, but I'm going to talk to somebody. There's two people I can talk to. One of them's here in the mall, Bangkok, the other's at Fortune Town. So, all in brotherly chain pulling. You know, David, I like that you live in the Philippines and you are not like, you know, I know how it is with Filipinos, and, you know, they get a bit testy when you start saying, I like Thailand better than the Philippines. But, you know, it's a matter of preference. It's not a slam on the Philippines. And personally, I think that, you know, there are some good dishes. There are some good dishes in the Philippines, some Filipino food that is quite good, but there's a lot of it that I'm just like, I can't eat this shit. And in Thailand, I don't really have that problem. I mean, you know, I've said it before. I'm here in Thailand, man. It's like I eat something and I'm like, it's good. It may not be fantastic all the time, but it's always good. It's never where I'm sitting there going, man, this is shit. That's probably happened 2 times in 25 years. So, you know, yeah, I understand, but, you know, listen, in this day and age, fact is not always what's important. It's about, you know, like listen, to me, if you're a guy and, you know, you did something wrong in your life and you went to prison and you got out and you paid your dues and you come back, to me, it's, you know, hey, you paid your dues. It's over with. But you're a convicted felon. I mean, you know, you're a felon when you go in. You committed a felony. So, you know, but that doesn't mean you got to push the fact that somebody's a felon. But it also doesn't mean you need to call them a justice-involved person. I mean, I just don't get this shit. This mealy-mouthing, this, you know, catering to the snowflakes. I don't get it. Wow. Didn't take you because you had flat feet. You know, if I had to do it all over again, I might have went into the Army, got out, and done something in civilian contracting or something. I don't know. But, you know, there's always, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? What, you know. Woke up with a headache. You see the rain is coming. The clouds are getting gray. Gray everywhere. Yeah, you know, one of the last times that, you know, when I was working in boxing, I was going to bring a guy over to Germany, a Thai guy, over to Germany so he could fight this Russian guy. And the Thai guy was older, and the Russian was a tough fight. He would have been a tough fight. It would have been a good fight. But, you know, the Thai guy was older, and he could punch, but he was a bit chinny. So if he got clipped, you know, it could be a way that he didn't really want to end his career. And, you know, I think he had some injuries and stuff, and I was going to go to Germany. And I was like, yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Good fight. I'll be in Germany. And then it didn't happen. I was a bit bummed. You could shit anywhere. Well, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you just have to get over this adherence to privacy. You know, like, oh, I don't want anybody seeing me shitting on the curb. Well, if you got to shit on the curb, you got to shit on the curb. Again, we turn to shitting. How long did it take to acclimate to the climate? I'm still not acclimated. I just endure it. But I have to say that since in the last year especially, the heat affects me more than it used to. It didn't used to affect, there was a good dozen years or so where I was like, I can handle this, it's no problem. Pretty much, yeah. You don't want to know. Listen, I've been putting together some short stories. Another book of short stories, plus the novel. I've been putting it together. Eventually they'll get done. But I'm looking forward to the short stories getting done because I got some good stories. One of them has to do with shitting. Well, two of them. Which, you know, after 3 weeks, you stop spinning and dry up as soon as you get an AC. Well, they defecate on the sidewalks in LA and San Francisco and India and, you know. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Parlez-vous français? Bingalaba? I like the pork on a, what the hell do they call that? Lechon? Is that what it is? Good stuff. But actually, I went to one guy's house. I've had some good meals in the Philippines, I will say that. Yeah, pancit. One time I went with a promoter and he took me to a Spanish restaurant. You know, like as in Spain. Food was awesome. The guy knew boxing. I sat there and talked with him for hours about old fighters and stuff like that. Another time was I had the pork soup where they had the bone in the soup, you know, with the pork, and I don't know what it's called. And then the pig on the skewer where, you know, everybody's roasting the pig. That was fantastic. And then what else? Well, in 2 months or so, it's 25 years. But what was the other one? Oh, well, I don't know. We used to stay, at these hotels, and um, the hotels almost always had these buffets, and the buffets were fantastic. I mean, good food. It wasn't, like some places in Thailand where you go and they go, oh yeah, free breakfast, and you get some cold toast, some shitty butter that you can't spread, and some nasty tasting egg. I mean, you get that once in a while. That's about the only complaints I've ever had about food in Thailand. And the same within Cambodia. The breakfasts can be shit. It's all about enticing you in. Hey, get the free breakfast. I don't want the free breakfast. I'd rather wait and go out for like a late breakfast or early brunch, or a brunch, and find something that's good. One thing I don't know about is Bangladeshi food. And that's something I gotta, the next couple of days I'm gonna research exactly what we want to do and where we're gonna go and all this other kind of stuff. So, lots to do. Schwein Shacks. Sounds like Radio Shack. Yeah, the bread in Cambodia is very good. Actually, they do have some good omelets. Some of the places have good omelets. What is it? Luklap? What was that stuff that I made, Billy? What was it? Was that what it was called? Luklap? The beef with the pepper and lime. I have to remember how to make that. Yeah, luklap. Luklap is when the chick's asleep and you're trying to do something with her. Well, they stare at white people here too, so go into Klong Tui and see how they stare at you. I'm prepared for the people staring. I don't have a problem with that because I can be good-natured about it. I don't know if I'm prepared for the level of slumdom that I may go through. But one way or the other, I'll be fine. Yeah, that's the key. Smile and, say hello and, keep it simple, keep it superficial. Generally, that's how it works. And don't become, what's the word? One person a week was being killed by a tiger in Bangladesh. Yeah, well, I actually looked into going to the Sundarbans, but there's not enough time. I think it's something like 370 miles away or something. It's a bit of a journey. It's a bit, I wouldn't say pricey, but, all in all, the trip down there it adds up. It adds a substantial expense to the trip. Maybe one day I'll go. Let me see something here. I think okay, Andy, you take it easy, man. I think if you just remember wherever you go, where was I the other day? I mean, even in Pattaya, when I was there the other day, I was like, man, the vibe is different here. But once I started, kind of like lightening up and I started talking to people and just going, hey, I don't care if they're staring at me and if they got they look like, what the fuck are you doing here? I don't care about that. Just as long as you go, hey, how's it going? And if they don't respond, I don't have a problem with it. Then you just go, hey, I did my part. You say hello, how's it going? How are you? Whatever. I don't know where Jono is. He told me that he's moving. Oh, wait, what's today? Sunday? He's moving. He's moving today. He's moving into his new pad. So, he's getting situated. And let me tell you something. He's in the line group now and he didn't, his line wasn't set up properly a couple days ago, so he is putting in the effort, It's great to see, when plans come together. And especially when I go, oh, well, I had a little something to do with it. It's nice, I do get a little something out of the interacting with people over a period of years, I think out of all the Chowderhead letters that I got, there was one guy, and he came back and he said, hey, it's been a couple of years, but she and I are married now. We've been married for whatever, and we've got a kid now. All is well. And I was like, wow, okay, great, man. And he was one of the smarter guys, but, it's always nice to see that stuff, Passages of Time. Time Passages by Al Stewart. I love the weather right now. It's fantastic. I sat down to the left. I'm on the right side now, but I sat at the left at like 8:45. And I'm sitting there and I started dripping in sweat because it was so hot. And I was like, I cannot do this. And I walked back inside and I thought, you know what? The stream is not monetized. So I thought, well, if there's any problems with the audio, the worst that'll happen is they'll just block a section of it or something like that. Or block the whole thing. You won't get a copyright strike. So I thought about it and I went inside for a few minutes and I got a water. And then I was like, yeah, you know what? It's not that hot. I'll go back outside. So I went outside, moved to the right, and it's been nice and cool ever since. And I looked, what's funny is that I looked in my Facebook, which I may be getting rid of soon, which I keep thinking about. I saw that I tried the walk from Chiang Rai to Chiang Mai 3 years ago, like to the day. It's been 3 years. So that gives me a good idea of where to look for the footage that I've been looking for. Because there's some footage that I've been looking for of when I took the motorbike back to the bus station, when this chick took me back, and when I was sitting on the bus, and when I was in the hotel, and I want to find that. I really want to find it. Anyway, so what else? Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Someone brought up to me this morning about how, while being a visitor and a tourist is different than being someone who lives here, having a wife and going through everything with a wife, whether you have children or whatever, versus having a girlfriend or having a one-night stand, huge difference. And it's a huge difference how people, when you go out, how people talk to you and everything like that. I don't, for numerous reasons. One, that I'm old and I'm starting to look like it. But, I don't get a lot of people going, oh, my friend, she like you. Oh, she say you're handsome. Oh, she say you're nalak. Whatever it is, I don't have to worry about that because most people where I'm hanging out all the time, they know already. I'm married, I got kids, they see my kids walking. So, a decent Thai woman is not going to, at least for me, I'm not good looking enough to where she's like, I don't care what happens, he's married and got kids, but I want him. I want to screw him that bad. I don't think I have that effect on women. Not anymore. The gold bands. We used to have those bands. We don't wear them anymore. But, we're still very much married. But, there is a big difference between coming over and screwing your brains out, or just going places and being a tourist, like a mainstream tourist that Thailand seems to want. And then, maybe you meet some chick and you go out with her for a week, and then, you have a good time with her. There's a difference between that and having a girlfriend, like, who's a true girlfriend. I'm not talking about the ones where, I have a Thai girlfriend, and, she's so wonderful. Oh, really? How do you guys meet? Oh, we haven't met yet. We haven't met yet. I'm going to go meet her for the first time in 3 months. Or we spent 2 weeks together. We haven't seen each other in a year and a half, but, she's my girl. I guess, it's good if you can work that out, but most of them don't work. It just doesn't happen, But then how many times, if you're in the U.S. and you live in California and she lives in New York and you don't have the money to be flying back and forth like every week or two, that's why college relationships, it's like, oh, we're in high school and, now I'm going away to college and I'm halfway across the country, and it doesn't work. And then you wonder why. Because you got some hot-looking chick throwing some pussy at you, and she's got some guy who's going, oh, I'm sure he's not doing anything wrong. I'm sure he loves you so much. And she's going, oh, he's so nice. And then, the guy's like, oh, you need some help studying? Yeah, well, I just happen to know these things. And then before you know it, gives her a couple shots of tequila, the panties come off, and the relationship has changed. That's just life, I forgot what the statistics were, but there is a statistic that says you're more likely to, for obvious reasons, you're more likely to end up with a woman that you live in close proximity to. 30 minutes is not that far. But if you live 3 hours away from a girl, it's a pain in the ass to go and see her, unless you're going to stay there for 3-4 nights, then go back for a couple nights, and you don't mind taking the trip. Okay, that's one thing. But, most people live 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe an hour away, and that's all right. But anything farther than that, and, forget about it. I was like, which way am I pointing? Because usually the counter is to my left, and she's over my left shoulder instead of to the side. Anyway, fruitful chat today, gentlemen. There is no such thing as a working visa. First thing to do is learn the terminology, and there is no such thing as a working visa. There is a visa that will allow you to get a work permit, but there is no such thing as a working visa, as in some countries. So, can I teach part-time in Thailand with working visa? I'm looking to semi-retire there. Well, which one is it? You're going to work or you're going to retire? You're not going to be able to teach if you are retired here, formally retired, like as you have a retirement visa. You're not going to be able to teach. You won't be able to get a work permit. Now, if you want to teach and you can find a job and you have, say, a non-immigrant B visa, and a company sponsors you, then you can work, and you can work part-time, and you know, you'd only be working part-time. I know quite a few guys who do that just to maybe cover their nuts so they don't touch their savings. Hopefully that answered your question. Long distance relationships, I think most men can do without them. Either that, or they love it and they really don't care that much about the girl, and they just figure, hey, once in a while she's coming over, once in a while I take a little trip over to see her. In the meantime, I can have some fun because she's not around, you know. Headache. There we go. Thank you, John. I wanted to say thank you to you. The retirement, once approved, allows you to stay in Thailand for 1 year. You're not on. Yeah. Now, I know many people who they do all kinds of jobs online. And I gotta say that, you know, like for all this digital nomad shit, when I first came over here and I first started visiting here, you could not use voice IP and use it reliably. It just was too sporadic. It was in and out. You know, that's when modems were still around. And, you know, people just weren't doing business the way they are now. There was none of this, you know, hey, buy this off me online. I got my shop set up. There was none of that. So instead of doing everything by sending, you know, things online, then what I would do is I just sent faxes, and I got a long distance card, Atari card, and I would use that card to make phone calls. Like every 3 days I would call up, or if it was an emergency, I'd call up and speak to the person who worked for me. And she was very good. She knew what she had to do. You know, I could rely on her. She was trustworthy, you know, great lady. I still talk to her to this day. And many times all that I would do is I would send, if there was something that I had to do or to send, like a sketch of how it was supposed to be or something like that, I would send it by fax. So it cost me a little bit of money, but it was nothing like it was now. Well, it really depends. Gennaro, if whether or not you pay tax depends on a lot of things. You know, if you're like trading stocks, then and it's U.S. stock, then yes, you're gonna be paying taxes on that at some point. Well, it depends on where they're getting paid, where the money is. And, you know, it depends on how much they're being paid. For instance, if you're getting paid in Thailand, you know, to your Thai company, then you can earn up to like $100,000. I forget what the exact figure is now. Well, it also depends on who's paying you, yeah. So that's the reason why the Thai government and many other governments don't go after people working online, because, I mean, like, for instance, by my last trip, I had started sending emails instead of faxes because it was cheaper. It was still a pain in the ass, and I remember on between Soi soy 3 and soy 5. Was it soy 3? No, soy 5 and succulent soy 5 and soy 7. There used to be a pharmacy there owned by this guy, older guy, probably around 60, spoke good English, and he had on the second floor of the pharmacy, he had an internet cafe. But it was modem. He used the modem to connect, and sometimes I'd have to sit there because I'd have like a file that I had to send, and I'd have to sit there for a couple of minutes to wait for it to go through, you know. So it was very, very slow. So, but the point is that, all right, I was coming over for, you know, a week, 2 weeks. Now, technically, are you working? Yeah, of course. But so if somebody calls you from the States and says, "Hey, listen, I'm going to be a few days late on the payment for your property, you know, for the house I'm renting, you know, I just want to let you know, but I will pay it. You know, it'll be paid on the 5th instead of the 1st." And they call you up on the phone, and you're like, "Yeah, okay, no problem." Obviously, that could be construed as working as well. Slower if you, well, back then, not many people were using VPNs. I was just curious because I see all these, no. No. Most are not, you know. And of course, the big dream for most people nowadays, it seems, younger people, is in the U.S., a lot of them are like, I want to be a star, I want to be an Instagram influencer, I want to be a whatever, you know, I want to be somebody on Facebook, I want to be, you know, somebody on YouTube, I want to be the star, and I'm going to make a ton of money, I'm going to be the next Casey Neistat, I'm going to be the next PewDiePie, and I'm going to be a millionaire. And that's like being a boxer. How many world champions are there out of all the boxers in the world? Not many. And that guy just got banned because when you come on and you go, well, look who's streaming today. Like, I never stream. Yeah, okay, guess what you are? You're that same guy who's dying to get on and fuck with me. Or maybe you're not, but guess what? My bad. Anyway, it's been fun. It's been real. We're at the 2-hour mark. So, you know, look for the videos coming. YouTubers or vloggers. What is this? Not YouTubers or vlogger. Digital nomads usually work for whoever pays the best and they jump around than that. Well, I mean, you think that vloggers and YouTubers don't? I mean, really, and like Instagrammers don't? They're man. I mean, think about it. The chicks, some of the chicks on Instagram, it's like, if you pay me, I'll show it. Yeah, all right, no problem. You know what I mean? Like, they're how do you avoid being a sexpat? Get a girlfriend, wife? I'm gonna leave that to you, man. Most guys don't have that strength. There's a myth about sexpats. First of all, if you go, let me ask you a question. I'll ask you this, and then we gotta go. Let's say that you go to the Hard Rock Cafe in Adios, Bud. Let's say that you go into, no worries, El Paso, yeah. Let's say that you go into the Hard Rock Cafe down in Siam Square. You're having a good time. You and your boys are out. You got 2 of your buddies with you. And you see a table full of chicks. And they're good looking. And you're like, hey, I've got a couple beers in me. I feel great. The chick's got a couple beers in her. She feels great. Somehow you guys, imagine that, you get together. You start talking. Next thing you know, you start dancing. A couple hours go by. You guys are shit-faced. She's like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And you're like, honey, I don't want this night to end. Where are you guys going now? I don't know. Where are you guys going? Well, how do you think, you know, how would you like to go down and get something to eat at this place I know, it's open, it's open now. We'll go over there and eat because you didn't eat here, so let's go over there and eat. Okay. Then you go out with her, and the two friends are with your buddies, and they're off in their own little world, talking, having a good time. And then your girl goes, well, I think it's time to go. And you go, oh, yeah, okay. You want to come with me? And she's like, oh, yeah, okay. And then you go back home with her. Your buddies take their girls back home, or one of them doesn't because he doesn't like her or she doesn't like him. You go back home. You do your business. You have your fun. And in the morning, she goes, can I have some money? Money? Are you, like, I didn't know that that's what you wanted. Oh, no, I need taxi money. How much? 2,000 baht. And she's standing there looking at you going, I'm serious. I want 2,000 baht. And then you realize she's a hoe. She didn't need 2,000 baht for a taxi. She could take like 200 at the most. Maybe 300 if she lives somewhere far on the outskirts of Bangkok. What are you going to do? You're going to be like, oh, I don't want to be a expat. Most guys go, fuck it, I'm on holiday. Here's the money. See you later, honey. Thanks for banging my brains out last night and this morning and, having a good time with me. Most guys don't care about it. So that whole thing is, there are different levels of mongering and people being sexpats and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, what's the difference between a girl who wants a sugar daddy and being a prostitute? And you being the sexpat. So, you know what the thing is? Don't give a shit. That's how you do it. Don't give a shit and be decent to people, and you'll never have to worry about that, And if you've got half a brain and you got any game, and you're semi-clean, you'll probably hook up with somebody eventually, The trick is to make sure you don't hook up with somebody who's just going, all right, today I stayed with you, I won 3,000 baht. And tomorrow I'm going to stay with you, I want another 3,000. And if you want me to stay with you all month, I need 100,000. Like the guy who was who came here and was telling me about how he gives this chick 100,000, 200,000 all the time. And yet she never wants to be with him. And she's not nice to him. And it's like, well, then why don't you grow some balls and realize that it's a money thing. It's a business deal. And that if you got the gold, you make the rules, then she better do what she needs to do. And if she doesn't, you go, see you later, baby. Anyway, that's all I got. It's been fun. Let's see something here. It's been fun, yeah. Okay, Salamat po. It's been fun. It's been real. It's been real fun. So probably Tuesday or Wednesday, maybe Thursday I'll stream again. But probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Maybe a walk, I don't know. And then, it's all about getting ready for counting the days until I go to Bangladesh. I'm looking forward to that, so... Thank you very much. Don't forget about Patreon. Don't forget about PayPal. Don't forget about buying a t-shirt or a mug, which helps support my channel. Don't forget about buying one of my books. What else? Do I got anything else? I don't know. Anyway, thank you for watching. If anything, click thumbs up, share it, whatever, like the video. And... yeah, I guess that's all I got. So until next time, bon voyage, arrivederci, ciao. Yes, I did too, Gennaro, very much. It's fun. Appreciate everybody watching, and yeah. Until next time, Jerkan Mai. Jerkan Na. That's what Alex says. See ya.